Let's find out if you qualify for Medicare. Well, just to give you a little bit of background, of course, I mean, this is for some people who was not able to see my show. I would prefer to just repeat some information. Well, Medicare is a federal health insurance program for people who are 65 and over. Some people under 65 may qualify for Medicare due to an illness or disability. There are many ways to find out if you qualify for Medicare. So, the first slide is, if you decide to retire early, you start receiving your Social Security retirement benefits as early as 62. However, you get your Medicare card months before your 65th birthday. If you don't want Medicare, you still might get enrolled anyways when you turn 60, before you turn 65. If you're already getting Social Security benefits when you become eligible for Medicare, you're enrolled automatically. I'm repeating myself, but I mean, it makes sense to repeat. So you can voluntarily end your Medicare Part B coverage because Medicare Part B is optional. But then, if there are times, I mean, when there comes a time that you need it, I mean, it's hard to apply and you'll get penalty. Well, people who go back to their native land when they retire, for example, Philippines. I have a client who told me he will retire at 62 and doesn't intend to get his Medicare coverage. I told him, the reason you have Medicare Part B is because you earned it. You go back, when you go back to the Philippines and later in life you will need medical coverage, you will pay penalty for each year you didn't pay for your coverage. I have encouraged him. I have encountered a lot of cases wherein they disenroll themselves to Part B since it is optional. Please remember that Part B is the medical side of Medicare. Then, when you need it and to see a doctor or a specialist, a chiropractor, I mean, that needs Part B coverage. You will have to wait for GEP, General Enrollment Period, to get Part B your Part B coverage back, and that is March 1st. I mean, January 1st to March 31st. So, I mean, what if your illness is beyond that date? Then what are you going to do? So, for some, they need to undergo dialysis wherein it is an outpatient. You will still use your Part B coverage. Besides, if you have Medicare Advantage, your emergency hospitalization can be covered by a Medicare Advantage plan while you were abroad. So, give me a call so I can help you get some money back for your Medicare Part B while you are in another country. So, the next one is, are you disabled? The law defines disability as the inability to engage in a substantial gainful activity by reason of any medically determinable physical or medical impairments which can be expected to result in death or which has lasted or can be expected to last a continuous period of not less than 12 months. So that's how, I mean, if you're disabled, that's the definition, and you can get your Medicare, okay? So now, if you're turning 65, you can get Part A, Part B, or Part D. Okay, so it's complete. So, when you are turning 65, you are entering what is called the Initial Enrollment Period, or IEP, as what we call it. I mean, if you heard of IEP, that's your initial enrollment period. You have to enroll in the 7-month period that begins 3 months before the month of your 65th birthday and the month of your birthday and ends 3 months after your 65th birthday. Generally, you're first eligible to sign up for Parts A and B when you're turning 65. And of course, you have to enroll with Part D. Don't forget. If you don't sign up when you're first eligible, you have to wait to sign up during the GEP, General Enrollment Period, and go months without coverage. So it happens January 1st to March 31st of the following year. There's no excuse not to enroll in Medicare when you turn 65. Seniors are generally advised to sign up on time to avoid penalties and could be quite costly over the course of your retirement, okay? So make sure it's mandated. Let me remind you that Medicare is a law. So, do you have employer coverage? Most people have the benefit of enrolling in a Medicare Part A at age 65 when they continue to work. There are no premiums, and by enrolling with Medicare Part A will help you avoid gaps in coverage down the road. If you have health insurance from the company that employs 20 or more people where you or your spouse actively work, you can delay enrolling in Medicare until the employment ends or coverage stops, whichever occurs first. You are entitled to a special enrollment period, SEP, to sign up for Medicare before or within 8 months of losing that job coverage to avoid late enrollment penalty. Large employers with at least 20 employees must offer you and your spouse the same benefits they offer younger employees and their spouses. And in this situation, if you're not the employer, you can decide whether to accept the employer health plan and delay Medicare enrollment, or decline employer coverage and rely wholly on Medicare, have employer coverage and Medicare at the same time. Okay? But, I would advise, it is to your best interest to at least get your Part A since there's no premium involved. You don't have to pay any premium for Part A since you already earned it. Next is loss of employer coverage. You have 8 months to enroll in a Medicare once you stop working or your employer coverage ends, so whichever comes first. But you may want to plan and contact Social Security before your employer coverage ends so you don't have a gap in coverage. In most cases, you should enroll in Medicare before losing job-based insurance to avoid gaps in coverage. Remember, even if you use the special enrollment period to avoid late enrollment penalty, you may still be responsible for the health care costs you incur in the months after losing job-based coverage before your Medicare coverage takes effect. So, if you are a resident for 5 years and a green card holder, you are entitled to a Part B coverage if you have 5 years of residency. If you hold a green card and you may be wondering if you're eligible for Medicare, well, I'm telling you this, you are entitled to your Medicare Part B, and you have to get Part D. So you may have to be age 65 or older, be a U.S. resident, or be an alien who has been lawfully admitted or permanent resident and has been residing in the United States for continuously 5 years as a permanent resident, you may qualify for Medicare. So, but the thing is, you have to be continuously living in the United States for the last 5 years, okay? The next slide is less than 5 years legal resident. Lawfully present immigrants can purchase coverage through the ACA marketplace. So the ACA is Affordable Care Act. So you can get an Affordable Care Act, and that would be your coverage if you are over 65, less than 5 years in the United States, but you have lawful stay, okay, legal stay. So, like citizens, they can get tax credit and help you pay for premium costs and other cost sharing that varies on a sliding scale based on income, okay? So it's based on I'm also a health insurance agent, and it's based on age and income. So it's not based on your zip code, okay? So just don't be like, oh, you're scared to apply. I mean, you just give me a call and I'm going to help you, okay? VA is veterans benefits. So you could either get the Part A, I mean, not either. I mean, you could really get the Part A, Part B, and you have an additional VA coverage. So if you have VA health benefits and qualify for Medicare at age 65, you can be enrolled in both plans at the same time. In fact, the VA strongly encourages veterans without employer-sponsored insurance to sign up for Medicare Parts A and B as soon as they qualify. TRICARE. So TRICARE is people who retired as in the military service. So most people in TRICARE have their TRICARE coverage, and they have the Part A and Part B of Medicare. So most people with TRICARE who become Medicare eligible and get Medicare Parts A must also enroll in Part B to be able to remain eligible. Part B is not required to maintain eligibility. Why? Because you're going to get their prescription through the TRICARE program. I know they already know about this, but this is education. This program is educational, and it's for old people. And because I hear a lot of people having misconception about a lot of things about Medicare, so this is just some nuggets for you. So when you're a tourist, what are you going to do? I mean, like you don't have a status, sad to say, or you may be, new immigrants are not eligible for Medicare. They can get the private pay health insurance or go to a pre-clinic. So I'm sorry, you're not eligible for Medicare regardless of your age, you know. Once immigrants meet the residency requirement, once you become an immigrant and meet the residency requirements, eligibility and enrollment works the same times as it does for others. However, you can enroll in a private insurance or go to a private pay patients in health clinics. Okay? Diabetes is a chronic, long-lasting health condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. With diabetes, your body doesn't make enough insulin or can't use it as well as it should. When there is enough insulin, or cells stop responding to insulin, too much blood sugar stays in your bloodstream, and over time, it can cause serious health problems such as heart disease, vision loss, and kidney disease. Those are the major things that affected by diabetes. There isn't really a cure yet, but losing weight, eating healthy food, and being active can really help. So I found this video that will give you foods to avoid if you have diabetes. Please watch it.
Uncontrolled diabetes has many serious consequences, including heart disease, kidney disease, blindness, and other complications. Prediabetes has also been linked to these conditions, so in this video I'm looking at 5 foods that those with diabetes and prediabetes should avoid. When people with diabetes and prediabetes consume too many carbohydrates at one time, which are broken down into sugar, this can cause dangerous spikes or rises in blood sugar levels. So to prevent large blood sugar spikes and prevent diabetes complications, it's important to avoid the following foods whenever possible. Number 1, sugar-sweetened beverages. Sugary beverages are the worst drink choice for someone with diabetes. To begin with, they are very high in carbs, with a 12-ounce or 354 ml can of soda providing 38 grams of sugar. The same amount of sweetened iced tea and lemonade each contain 36 grams of carbs, exclusively from sugar as well. In addition, they're loaded with fructose, which is strongly linked to insulin resistance and diabetes in the context of excess calories. Now, indeed, studies suggest that consuming sugar-sweetened beverages may increase the risk of diabetes-related conditions like fatty liver. In one study of overweight and obese adults, consuming 25% of calories from high fructose beverages on a weight-maintaining diet led to increased insulin resistance and belly fat, a lower metabolic rate, and worse heart health markers. To help control blood sugar levels and even prevent disease risk, drink water, club soda, even artificially sweetened drinks instead of sugary drinks. Number 2, fruit juice. I want to highlight that fruit juice is not really a healthy beverage, nor is it a suitable alternative for other sugar-sweetened beverages. This is because the fruit sugar is concentrated when juiced, so you end up drinking a lot more fruit than you could ever possibly eat. 8 ounces or 250 mils of unsweetened apple juice contains 24 grams of sugar, which is the same as a soda. Fruit should really be consumed in its whole form, where it still contains fiber and the amount of sugar is much lower. Now, a much better alternative to juice is water with a wedge of lemon, which provides less than 1 gram of carbs and is virtually calorie-free. Number 3, dried fruit. It may seem like I'm bashing fruit here, but I'm not. Fruit is a great source of nutrients and is healthy. But when fruit is dried out, the sugar content becomes much more concentrated, much like with juices. For example, 1 cup of grapes contains 27 grams of carbs, including a gram of fiber. Now, by contrast, 1 cup of raisins contains 115 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fiber. That's equivalent to about 20 teaspoons of sugar. Other types of dried fruit are similarly high in carbs when compared to fresh fruit. So know that if you have diabetes, you don't have to give up fruit altogether. Sticking with low sugar fruits like fresh berries or a small apple can provide health benefits while keeping your blood sugar in the target range. Number 4, honey, agave nectar, and maple syrup. People with diabetes often try to minimize their intake of white table sugar, regular sugar, but there's other types of sugars that can cause blood sugar spikes as well. Below are the carb counts of 1 tablespoon serving of popular sugar alternatives. So white sugar has 12.6 grams, agave nectar would have 16 grams of sugar, honey has 17 grams of sugar, and maple syrup has 13 grams of sugar in 1 tablespoon. So you can see that in terms of the amount of carbs, or more specifically sugar, they are certainly not better choices, and in fact can be worse. Agave nectar for sure, which is unnaturally high in fructose. The best strategy is to avoid all types of added sugar where possible and to use low carb sweeteners instead. Number 5, white bread, pasta, and rice. These foods are all somewhat processed, high carb foods. Eating bread, bagels, and other refined flour foods has been shown to significantly increase blood sugar levels in people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. And this response isn't exclusive to wheat products. In one study, gluten-free pastas were also shown to raise blood sugar, with rice-based types having the greatest effect. The problem is, not only are these foods carb dense, but they also contain such little amounts of fiber, which helps to slow down the digestion process and slow down the speed at which carbs are turned into sugar and absorbed into our blood. If you really need to eat these foods, eat them in small portions and try to choose high fiber options where you can, like rye bread and brown rice. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative, and don't forget to subscribe to the Authority Nutrition YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button.
Here's a question asked to me by a client. Actually, these are some of the questions I gathered through the years, and that would be helpful for you to know, okay? So here's the question of one of my clients. I went to the Social Security Administration office and I applied for Medicare. The lady said I will get my Medicare Part A and I will get my Medicare Part B in February 24. So she asked, why didn't she give me my Medicare Part B coverage? First, I asked how old she is. She said 67. My next question was, how long has she been in the United States? And then my third question was, did you contribute 10 years towards your Medicare coverage? After all the questions, she is qualified to get Medicare Part A and Part B. That's why she was given the Part A, right? However, it is mandated that you enroll in Medicare before you turn 65. And remember, her age is 67. The reason she was not given Medicare Part B coverage is because she passed her IEP, initial enrollment period, and that is before you turn 65. IEP is a total of 7 months. It's 3 months before you turn 65, on the month of your birthday and 3 months after your birth month. If you miss your IEP, you would have to enroll during the GEP, General Enrollment Period. And GEP happens every first quarter of the year, from January 1st to March 31st. The Social Security Administration representative said she will get her Part B coverage in February. But she was not told that she has to apply in January so she can get her Part B coverage in February. So I told her she must go back to the Social Security Administration to apply for Part B. Remember, I showed some slides before how to apply by mail, but it's better to go visit the office. So because she missed her IEP and GEP for 2 years, sad to say, she may incur some penalties since she did not enroll in Medicare Part B when she was first eligible. Likewise, there will be a penalty for Medicare Part B. Part D rather, for drugs, because it goes hand in hand. If you would recall, if you have a Part A, you have to get Part D. If you have Part B, you have to get Part D. If you have both, you have to get Part D. Well, the penalty for Part B is 10% each year, and the penalty for Part D is 1% each year you miss your enrollment. Okay? So that would be like around $40 more, something like that, give or take. Okay? So we'll go to the next question. I'm still working, so I didn't enroll in Medicare. Do I really have to enroll? Or, let's put it this way. Do I really have to enroll in Medicare if I'm still working and I have a group health insurance? You are not obligated to enroll in Medicare if you still have group health insurance. However, if you have completed your contribution to Medicare, it is for your best interest to get Medicare Part A. Medicare Part A is for hospital coverage, and there is no obligation for you to have, and there is no obligation, no premium rather. No premium once you have completed your 10 years of contribution. Nowadays, the deductible for health insurance coverage has gone up. For example, if you have $13,000 deductible with your group health insurance, when you get hospitalized, you can use Medicare Part A to cover your hospitalization, and you will only pay a deductible of $1,600 for 2023. How about that? So it's just like 10%. So you save a lot of money if you have your Medicare Part A. Okay. So the last question: can I use Medicare if I go to another country? Medicare is a federal health insurance program for people 65 and older, or for people with disabilities. So by saying federal, that means within the country. When you go abroad, you cannot use your original Medicare card since it is a federal health insurance card. However, if you enroll in Medicare Advantage plan, you transfer your health insurance coverage to a private insurance company that CMS means the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, has appointed. That means the private health insurance carrier you enrolled with is responsible for covering your Medicare Parts A, B, and most plans includes Medicare Part D, wherein if you travel abroad, your emergency is covered. Well, it's time for me to wrap up my show. I would like to thank Chris Reynolds for spending his precious time with me, or with us, of course, with you as well, to talk about his role in the LGBTQ community. He has shared a very important knowledge about how he works as a LGBTQ navigator, and of course helping the people at the center or the LGBTQ community. It is always a pleasure to be of assistance with you, with your Medicare concerns, and rest assured, I'm here to continue enriching your Medicare knowledge. I would like to send my love, hugs, and kisses to my clients, and for those who need a reliable agent, I'm looking forward to be a part of your Medicare journey. I'll see you on another episode of Maria Cares Senior Info Guide. Take care of your health. That's the only one you got. Let's join hands to a better health.